Welcome to another video tutorial from 2dgameartguru.com. Today I'm working in Affinity Designer version 2 to create a labyrinth using a grid, the pen tool, different blend modes and snapping. Let's start by setting up the grid. I bring up the grid setup in View, Grid and Axis. There are several presets. I want to work with squares, so I choose the 1 centimeter square and make sure that the show grid is turned on as well as the snapping. I use the pen tool to create a straight line, set the widths to the same dimensions as my grid, 1 centimeter. Even if the stroke width is displayed in points, you can enter the units of your choice. I duplicate the line to every second point on the grid using Ctrl J for the power duplicate. I make another duplicate and use the node tool to turn it into a vertical line. Duplicate that one, again skipping every second grid point. The result is the maze with every possible wall in place. I didn't set up the artboard to match the grid, but worked with my standard video artboard, so I'm adjusting that just for visual reasons to get an even border and see all of the maze. To organize the design, I create 2 layers. I cut all the lines, create a layer for the spaces and a layer for the walls. I paste all the walls I've created inside the walls layer and set the top layer's blend mode to erase. When I use the pen tool inside this layer, the lines will be erased from everything below, including the walls. I'm basically cutting through the walls each time the line crosses one of the lines in my wall layer. The snapping makes it easy to place the nodes in between the existing lines, seeing I skipped every second grid point when I created the lines for the walls. At the moment, the erase cuts through all layers, including the artboard. If I put the 2 layers into a group, or even better into a separate layer, that layer will restrict the spread of the erase and the artboard becomes visible again. So far I've just created 1 line, the path from the entry to the exit of the labyrinth. Now I'm adding the empty lines that connect the empty squares to this path. To avoid a new line connecting to the last line you drew, you press Escape and start with the pen tool on a new line. There are a lot of empty squares to connect. Seeing I'm repeating the same process over and over again, I increase the video speed not to bore you to death. That's the last line for this simple labyrinth setup. Let's change the color. I was working somewhat in inverse. Let's make the background lighter and the stroke color of the walls darker. For the illustration I had in mind, I need some rooms inside the maze, so I'm adding additional lines covering up the walls. Keep in mind that the erase is a visual effect inside Affinity Designer only. In order to turn this from a bunch of lines into proper curves, I select all the wall lines and expand them via Layer Expand Stroke. I repeat the same process with the erase layer and combine all those shapes I created with the expand via Boolean add. Even though the curves look great, there were some artifacts created by the Boolean operation. I select those and delete them. Take the 2 layers outside of their initial layers and combine them as a compound. Holding Alt and clicking on subtract, I create a editable compound where both curves are still intact. I can still edit the subtracted curve with the node tool and adjust the compound's fill and stroke color. The one thing I can't do with the compound is turn it into a clipping mask without converting it to curves first, but I can turn a compound into a mask to below and place the stone pattern inside this mask. And that's how I quickly created the maze for this illustration. While creating this illustration, I thought of a way to turn it into a circular design. The easiest option I could come up with was a textured intensity brush. In order to do that, I turned the background to black and the maze to white. The black part in a brush is the transparent part, the white part is the stroke color you assign to it later. I adjust the size to the maze and take off the right wall in order not to have a double wall when they connect. I export the image as a PNG, set it to reasonable size, create a new line with the pen tool, and assign a new textured intensity brush taken from the PNG file I just created to this line. Clicking on the preview image of the brush brings up the brush settings. I increase the brush size and set the body from stretch to repeat. I adjust the stroke color and stroke width, curve my line, and the labyrinth pattern will be adjusted to match the curve. What works on a curved line should work on a circle. There will be more deformation, but it should still work. Create a circle, assign the brush to it, set the width, and voila, there's our circular labyrinth. The only problem with this one is it has several entries, as it is repeating the same smaller labyrinths I created. Use the pen and the node tool to fill those gaps. They need to be slightly curved to match the circular design. Adjust the stroke width to match. Seeing I need 3 more of those, I enable the transform origin, place the origin in the center of the circle, duplicate, rotate my line, fill the one gap, duplicate again, and fill the other 2. This one needs a little adjustment. There we go. In order to connect the repeating parts, I use lines set to erase. I group the circle with the existing lines, use the pen tool and set that line to erase. To limit the spread of the erase, I group it with the design below. I could have just placed it inside the layer I created for that purpose. I duplicate the line and place it at the edge of the next segment. I repeat the process for all 5 segments. And as the final step, add one more line to mark the exit of the labyrinth. All I had to do was change the stroke color and the opacity to use the design in a fun entry for a social media group. After the circular design, let's do one more transformation of the labyrinth. This time I'm relying on version 2 features. I'm going to use the warp group perspective on the maze compound. I move the top handles of the warp group down and inwards. I duplicate the warp group, color it a little lighter and move it up just a little bit. I adjust the top handles of the duplicated warp group, lowering them to adjust the perspective. These 2 warp groups are the ground and the top of the maze. In order to fill the open sides, I need to convert the compound and the warp groups into curves. I start with the compounds, select each compound, convert it to curves, and then select the warp group and convert that to curves. This process might take some time. Have a little patience. Clicking on the application will turn it into non-responsive. After a few seconds, it should turn the warp group into a group. You can ungroup that group and end up with a curve. Repeat the process with the other warp group. The reason behind it is that the snapping will work on curves and their geometry, but not on the geometry deformed by the warp group. Turn on the snapping and make sure that the snap to object geometry is turned on. These two curves will help me place the new shapes in exactly the right spots, adjusting their nodes to snap to the existing nodes. You can work with rectangles or the pen tool. I used the pen tool a lot, duplicated the shapes, and used the node tool to adjust to the nodes that they need to snap to. As this is a time-consuming process, I tried different approaches using the shape builder or Inkscape with an extrusion between two shapes shy of a 3D model. I couldn't come up with a cleaner approach. Snapping shapes will appear as yellow outlines, or you can turn the snapping candidates on in the snapping options. They will appear as purple lines. Duplicate the shapes, adjust the color, and adjust the nodes with the node tool to snap them to their new positions. Repeat the process until all visible walls are filled. Seeing this process takes a while. I did not record all of it. I stopped at this stage and continued here. This is the finished labyrinth with all the walls filled in. I can now add detail to enhance the perspective, like a gradient, or edit features like the stickman that scale in line with the maze. I'll finish the video here. I showed you how to use the grid, the pen tool, different blend modes, and snapping to create a labyrinth. What started out as a simple illustration turned into a more complex tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let me know what you want to see in the comments below, and I will see you again soon.